to Heart Conversations. My name is Yolanda Mahayeng. Thank you so much for your comments, your subscribing on my channel, and thank you for your comments, thank you for your likes, thank you for private messages that you have sent. I'm learning so much, and I'm also sharing your testimonies with everyone else. And please keep on sending those comments. Please don't forget there is an email that you can send your story if you are very far, maybe out of Cape Town. But if I can reach out to you, maybe, you never know, I might come as I'm in Kimberley now with my family, and we're having a conversation today. So they will introduce themselves and tell the whole world who they are.
Do we reach that far?
Yes, of course. YouTube is everywhere. And yeah, they're gonna share a little bit of themselves. Yes, let's start. Okay.
Okay. Hi everyone. Excuse my voice. I had a really wonderful weekend.
Wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
A great weekend.
But in any case, my name is Pam. Full name is Pamela. What else am I supposed to say?
Who are you?
Who am I? Do you have the whole day?
No.
My name is Pam. How I relate to Makabo is that she's married to my younger brother. In other words, she's my sister. And then I am, as the conversation goes, we'll get to know who I am.
So which means I'm also Makabo. Yolanda Mahayeng.
Yes, that's her name. That's what we call her at home.
I'm sure they're gonna be wondering, Makabo. Okay, yes.
Yeah, no, this is Makabo. When she's home, she's Makabo, and to you, Yolanda, I guess.
And you?
Hi everyone, my name is Ipileng. I am Makabo's cousin, Pam's cousin, and yeah, I guess as Pam said, as we talk, we will discover who I am, because I don't even think I know who I am as yet. I'm still discovering that.
Okay. So we'll know a little bit about yourself. Then maybe somewhere, somehow, it will come out that who you are. Yeah. So, okay, Sis Pam, please just share about your journey. Who is Pamela?
Pamela. I was born in Kimberley a few decades ago.
Okay.
Born to a young lady who is late now, and a young man who's also late as well. I was born in Kimberley, but I grew up in South Africa, literally. Everywhere. At some point, I think at 10 months, I moved to Vryburg, and then came back to Kimberley when I was about 6 or 7, I can't remember. Moved from Kimberley again when I was about 11. Stayed in the Den Buputatswana, I'm giving my age away. Stayed in the Den Buputatswana. I would say Buputatswana because it was different places in Buputatswana which I lived in. All of that was because I needed to finish my schooling days.
Okay.
Because of the riots that were happening in Kimberley, which they called South Africa at that time. So that would disturb school from time to time.
Okay.
So then my family felt it was best that I go to Botswana because it was more quiet there in terms of riots. So, which meant it wouldn't disturb my schooling. So I was in Botswana, and then came back to Kimberley when I had to finish off my matric. Matric which I had not failed but did not do as well as I wanted to when I was in Botswana. So I decided to come back to South Africa. Yeah, it was still South Africa then. And then I finished my matric here in Kimberley. Then from Kimberley I left for Pretoria for a year. Left Pretoria the following year to back to Kimberley, and no, I left Kimberley after matric to Pretoria looking for a place to study, couldn't find one. And then from there I went to KwaZulu-Natal in Durban, where I studied for a year. And I think that's when actually my journey really started to find out who I am. Because finishing my matric, I thought I was going to follow the medical field. And simply because it was something that my dad had told me that I would be good at. So I was pursuing the medical field. Unfortunately, didn't get in anywhere, and only the following year where I got to Mangosuthu Technikon, I studied medical technology. And by the end of that year, I realized, actually, this is not me. Came back home the following year to come and find myself. Took time in, what can I say? It was like I took time to get to know myself, or at least to understand what is it that I'm interested in. Did a lot of research, did a lot of, checking different universities as to what they have to offer, checking courses and so on and so forth, and I ended up with one course which is called Public Administration. And then only went to study what I thought was actually the course that I wanted to do, still not having the full idea of what public administration was. I started studying public administration the following year, which meant from my matric, I actually wasted about 3 years. I wouldn't call it a waste per se, a waste in terms in the sense that people I finished matric with were actually in their final years when I started the course that I wanted to do. So in that course, I discovered that there's a field called human resource management. And that's when I thought, this is me. And I pursued the human resource field, and I'm still in the human resource management field. Still, that's not me. Life went on. I eventually got married. I got married at a very young age. I'm sure I was 23 years old when I got married. And yes, I was 23 years old when I got married. And then I lived in Cape Town. I was a very young pastor's wife because my husband was a pastor. And at that time, after finishing my degree, I was a pastor's wife. I was
At 23.
Yes. I was a leader in the church because at that time I was leading intercession in the church, and I was leading the dance group. I had cell groups which I was leading. I did a lot of counseling, from students, because I then became a senior, obviously. And then I had students who I was mentoring, and from time to time they would come with their problems and stuff like that. And in that, I started to realize actually what my passion was. And I could clearly articulate what is it that I enjoy doing in life. And that carried on. A few years later, I got married at 23, and then a few years later, which is about 4 years fast forward, I had my firstborn daughter. And that added on to my responsibilities as I became a mother as well. And then I was a mother, I was a wife, I was a pastor, I was a leader, I was a career woman. All of those things were all happening at the same time. And they went on. From there, a few years later, I'm just gonna, just for time's sake, a few years later, this husband of mine decided to join God on the other side. So So anyway, I lost my husband, and that kind of like you know, when you're standing firm on something and somebody just comes and puts it off, you know, like suddenly, it kind of like shakes you. Yeah, so I was a bit shaken by that, and I decided then I need to make a choice to follow a career and climb this career ladder, or to be a mom. And the best decision for me at that time was that I needed to be a mom. And so I resigned from my very busy, promising, well-paying job at that time, and which was a private company as well, and decided to join government. But that decision came after 2 years of sitting at home and nursing my emotions and making sure that my daughter gets used to the single parenting thing and I get also used to the single parenting thing. And yeah, after 2 years then I joined the corporate work again. I started working again. And then I also relocated. I came back to Kimberley because all my family is here, and I thought if I have to go back to work, maybe I do not know what kind of a job I'm going to be in. I need family support. So I decided to come back to Kimberley, and I've been in Kimberley since 2008. And at that time, my daughter was 7 years old, which means she started primary, actually grade 1 here. And it is now 11 years later, which means she's now in matric. And looking back, that was the best decision that I could have taken, because I didn't go up the corporate ladder as fast as my peers or as expected, but I have the best daughter that God could have given me. You know, it's like we have bonded. Life is good. The only thing I shout about in the house is the room that's a mess. It's the dishes that aren't washed. I don't shout about boys. I don't shout about contraceptives. I don't have that stress. So really when it comes to my daughter, I do not have stress at all. So for me at that time, looking back, it was the best decision that I could have taken. Now that she's 18, the question comes, who am I? I've been raising her and living for her, given my time to her, sacrificed myself and my desires and my own dreams. Yes, it was a dream for me for her to become a responsible citizen, but that's not all of me. So the question is, who am I?
But can I ask a question?
Yes.
How did you get through the passing of your husband?
The passing of my husband, how did I get through? God. Just to give you a little bit of an idea as to why I'm saying God. We were on our way actually from Kimberley, going back to Cape Town. Sunday night, we coming from a wedding. He was actually emceeing at the wedding the previous day. Driving back to Kimberley. We're supposed to leave Kimberley around 1 o'clock. He says, no, let's leave around 4 because he was feeling a bit tired. Okay, 4 o'clock we get into the car. It's myself, it's him, my daughter, and a cousin of mine. Kimberley. So what we would do then, I would drive on the N12 because I would drive on the N12. Then when we get on the N1, then he takes over, which means at Three Sisters, we would then exchange. So we drive, we get to Three Sisters. I'm like, your turn. He's like, no, you can continue until I tell you. No. At that time, it was 2005. And remember, in 2005, we knew that 2010 was coming. The soccer. Yes, we knew that 2010 was coming. Yes, 2010. So, all the roads were busy in South Africa, especially the national roads, the highways and the byways, you know, everywhere in South Africa, it was just construction everywhere. So between Three Sisters and Beaufort West, they had constructions happening at that time. So we get to a stop and go. We stop for a few. At that time, there were 2 times. Yeah,
Like 5 minutes, maybe.
10 minutes or so. I think the waiting time was about 10 minutes. So eventually the boomer opens and we go. So obviously it's a convoy. So as the convoy eased up and people, started going faster, I'm still trying to catch up, still being the driver. And at the same time, there's a lot of other cars that are driving in in the opposite direction. Soon after this car before us had left us, a horse came onto the road. We spot the horse at the same time. Remember, I'm driving and he's on the passenger seat. The kids are sleeping at the back. We see the horse. He says to me, "Love." And the next thing, the car's all over the road. I'm praying. We're going, and the car got to a standstill. And I looked to the left. The airbags had come out on his side. I looked to the back. She's waking, my daughter's waking up and she's going.
Okay, remind you, the daughter is the one that is recording.
Yes.
Yes.
The daughter wakes up, she's like, "Mommy, what just happened?" The cousin Prudence also gets up. We get out of the car. I come around, I open the door for them. He's sleeping, at that time snoring. I run to the road, the next car passes, the second one stops, and after a few minutes it was ambulance, police, everywhere. It was just busy. The next thing, we in the ambulance and we're going to
The hospital.
the hospital. We get to the hospital. Okay, cut the long story short, he departs this life at the hospital. The doctor reports that to me. They admit us so that they can, check us overnight and, observe and everything. And as we get to the hospital bed, everything that happened keeps playing over and over in my mind. Keeps playing over and over in my mind. And I keep saying to myself, I should have swerved that way. I should have. And as I'm saying this, I hear the Holy Spirit say to me, "Don't go there. Do not go there. You did not give life and you cannot take life. So don't go there." And I didn't. From that day onwards, I decided not to try and relive the moment because that would not bring him back. And at the same time, God was at peace with whatever had happened and he had allowed it. So I needed to take on the peace that God had about the whole situation. So I took on the peace. But now, from then on was the point of me making sure that I live. Because remember, this was my first boyfriend. This was my friend. I was looking forward to growing old with this person. As a child, I promised myself that I'm not bringing a child into this world if they're not going to have a father who's going to raise them. So now he's gone. I'm a single parent. So it was like everything that I had built had been taken away from me. And it was a matter of like, I had to start everything from scratch. So I did that. I had a choice to look back and say, hey, this, that. And I was like, no, this is my reality now. And I have to start over. And so I cannot say that it was my wisdom or somebody set me down. It was just simply because of the relationship I had with God. And he walked me through that situation. I'm not saying I didn't mourn. I think it took me about 3 years to actually even forget the day the accident happened. Because it happened on the 23rd of October. On the 4th year, the 23rd of October passed, and I realized, I think sometime in November, how? The 23rd passed, and on that day I wasn't emotional, and then I knew, okay, There were nights where I would cry myself to sleep. There were days where I would feel like I could hide her so that people won't ask, are you a single parent? Because single parenting to me, because of everything that I had done in my life, single parenting was something that I felt ashamed of.
Okay.
Because it would have meant for me that I mothered the child out of wedlock. Yeah. So it was a difficult journey, but it was a possible journey because God was there. So God.
Sure. Now let's get to you, Elaine.
We'll see you guys next week.
Okay. See you next week. Oh wow! Sure. Yeah.
That's it.
Wow, that was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. I'm trying to think. What if it was me in that situation?
You know what? The one thing that I've come to learn is that you may be sitting there and thinking how I got through. I sit with a lot of people who go through a lot and I think I would never be able to do that. And yet somebody's looking at me thinking, you're strong.
You're strong.
And I'd be listening to somebody else sharing their story and I'd be thinking, so that means we all have our own journeys.
I believe that we are all broken.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yes.
It doesn't matter
Yes.
if you feel that it's small or it's big, but at the end of the day, even if it's small, but you are broken.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So it's a chain of brokenness that we just need to understand that it's not our fault. Because I think what kills us is the shame of blaming ourselves, that it is my fault. I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, but now I can't do that. I can't. But I like the fact that you mentioned the fact that you decided, you made a choice of you have to take this route. Because sometimes the difficult thing is making a decision.
Yes, it's true. It's
Making
true.
a decision, it's very difficult. Because someone can just come and advise you, but it depends on you.
Actually making a decision and sticking.
And sticking to
Yes,
it.
decision,
Yes.
Because you can wallow in the same emotion, in the same, going over and over the same thing. It's until you get up and you say, you know what, this is it. This is where I draw the line. This is the direction I'm taking. Sometimes the direction may not be the direction that you should be taking, but the point is,
You have made a decision.
yes, you made the decision.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. Well, we're learning every day something new. Sometimes you know what to do, but you just want to hear it. You just want to hear it. Over to you, Elaine.
Okay.
Sure, a little bit of your heart.
Your bottom. Elaine, I was also born once upon a time.
Once upon a time, made in China.
No, I was not made in China. I was not made in China. I am not from Hong Kong.
The real
This is
one.
original.
Yes.
I guess, I was born in Kimberley, also to a mother and a father, mostly a mother. Grew up, went to school, left that. Became a mom at a very young age. I was 19 when I had my son. I didn't finish school because I had him. Decisions, I guess. And then he was there, and then we grew up.
Who was there?
My son,
Okay.
yes. My cousin always tells me, like, when we were growing up, she would initiate storytelling time. And everybody would tell a story, and the story would have a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
But my story only had a middle.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not a very good storyteller.
Mm.
I'm not very good at doing this, what I'm required to do now.
Mm.
I'm not very good at that. And you're requesting me to tell a story.
Mm.
Yes, hence it starts in the middle. Now,
Okay. Okay.
I was reminded of when she actually used to tell me that everybody would say, hey, it started this way, and then mine would say, and then. That's how my stories would always start.
Okay.
So, and then Loisa was there at 19. I remember feeling disappointed, still a bit, not a bit, a lot. I remember feeling judged, still today.
Mm. It's okay.
Not just by others, but by myself as well. And hence I said in the beginning of this that I'm still trying to discover who I am, and it's a journey, I guess. I just know that at this point in time, I just know that social entrepreneurship would probably be the best thing for me. It is, because it's the one thing that's constant. Every time something comes up, it would be social entrepreneurship, it would be mentoring young girls not to go through the things that I went through, making sure that they grow up with a goal and a purpose. In that way, you do not engage in things that will then bring you to a point where you need to grow up overnight and things like that, to try and kind of stop the cycle of teenage pregnancy, stop the cycle of engaging in sexual activity before you even understand what the consequences are, what the reason behind sex being created. God had a purpose with it, and the world has its own purpose with it and its own way of using it, under just mentoring girls so that they can find who they are before getting into relationships. Yeah, I guess at this point in time, that's all I know about myself. That's a passion that I have. Just mentoring young girls and kind of breaking the cycle. And also finding a way, I'm not saying of taking God out of it, but not making it too biblical.
Okay.
Not making it too... Because the moment you come to people and you say, God,
Yeah.
everybody just shuts down,
Yeah.
But finding a way of
A true story.
Yeah.
Real,
making it
make
real for them. Yes.
Which is your journey.
I guess. There's a purpose for everything. There is reasons for everything, and I guess my journey has brought me to this. Has brought this purpose along my path, which is mentoring young girls and young boys. In fact, finding a male figure that has the proper values and men or young boys, so that they can grow up to be responsible men and not just enter into relationships because society does it, or do things because society does it. But if both parties had purpose and had drive, then we wouldn't do things in because they're there to do.
Okay. And how's your relationship with your son?
Hey, relationship with my son. At this point, earlier on, when you were still younger, I would say we were friends because we did everything together. We then kind of drifted apart because then I left to go and stay somewhere else and he was staying somewhere else. So the friendship relationship that we kind of had and was young then is now a bit stretched. We only talk if there's something that I need to talk to him about, or there is something that he needs or stuff like that. There is a drift. And I guess part of the reason why there is a drift is something that I said when I started, like the blaming, the I wish I had done things differently, the still discovering who I am, and then a whole lot of things that I never talk to other people about. A whole lot of emotions that I never share with anyone. Because talking is not a strong point for me. You know, I internalize a whole lot of things.
That's somebody who talks all the time.
Okay, talking about myself, about my
Yeah,
emotions,
Edwin.
and about how I'm feeling. Because it's true, I can talk, and I know how to help and assist others and counsel others about their issues, but I never want to talk about my issues. You know,
I see.
I never want to be vulnerable to others.
You're not opening up for yourself, like to release whatever that is in your heart.
Yeah, it's between God and I. That's what I usually say.
And then since now you'll be mentoring, how are you gonna mentor them?
See, that is the thing. I can tell you that I am good when it comes to one-on-one mentoring.
Yeah.
It's just me and this person, and there's nobody else here.
Okay.
That I can do openly and I can talk. Because it's just this person that sees. There's not a whole lot of people that sees, you know. So that I can do, but groups, 3 is a crowd.
Okay. Okay.
3 is a crowd.
Okay. But you know, with me, I don't know with other people, I used to be like that. I used to be so secretive about my life. And well, I'm just sharing that I learned about myself through sharing about me. And it's something that I never knew before, that once you start opening up, you're learning things about yourself. And I remember in another video that I did was identity. We create a personality of which God says that you can be anything that you want to be. But we're limiting ourselves because you think this is who you are. And I remember I used to be this person that like, I can't share. You know I don't want to be in a big group. But now I'm thinking to myself, now I can talk to bigger groups. But what happened? So what happened to that Yolanda? You know? So identity, it changes as time, as you grow, as you're opening up. Because you will think that you want to, you like one-on-one. But you'll be so surprised to...
You know what? I'm listening to you saying, and I don't want to cut you. But I don't think our identity changes. I tell you why I'm saying that. Not even evolve. God created men.
Yes.
And God created women.
Yes.
And He said, it is good.
It is good.
So it was finished. In the beginning, it was finished. It is we who grow into our identity.
Yes.
Remember I said to you that now that my daughter is now living, yes, I do have a second daughter, but now I feel much stronger and more emotionally ready to go back into what I believe I am, because remember when I made that decision of becoming a more present mom, it was because emotionally I was broken. Now I am emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and every otherwise stronger than what I was. So I am ready now to be who I am. Having said that, in the journey of when I realized, that was actually last year, when I realized, wow, she's about to leave the house, you know. And so what do I do with myself? And so I started having conversations with God. And I remember asking him, God, who am I? Why am I here? Because I mean, I've gone through so many things which I haven't shared. There's a whole lot of things that I've gone through in life. And through all of those things, he carried me.
Yes.
There must be a reason why you carried me. And here I am right now. I can say I'm that person because I've done that. I can say I'm that person because I have that. I can say I'm that person because that has happened. But all of these things, when I look at them, they don't really tell me who I am. They tell me what I can do. They tell me how I can do things. They tell me why things. Who am I? That is what I want to know. And God started taking me on that journey. He says to me, first of all, you are my child.
Yes.
What does that mean? If somebody says, I'm your child, if you go for DNA tests now, what is it going to say? That I'm 99.999% this person's child.
Yes.
So if God says I'm his child, that means I've got DNA. That's number one. God's identity is my identity.
Yes.
Right? So who he is who I am.
Wow.
Who he is who I am.
Sure.
And then he
Goosebumps.
continues, he says to me, my child, you are royal. I'm like, wow, isn't that too pompous for me to say I'm royal? He's like, no, you are royal. And then he continues to say, because you're royal, you need to live your life authentically so. Don't try and be that and be that and be authentic in your royalty. And then you will live in prestige.
That's my sister, guys.
And I'm like, wow, is that who I am? Okay. I continue. I left the whole, that was last year. I'm royal. I need to live authentically, and I'm gonna live in prestige. You know, I'm gonna be prestigious, and then I decided, okay, no, it doesn't end there. Remember that I'm in the world, which means the world has got what? Values. Okay. Now, because I'm royal and I need to live authentically and I need to live in prestige, that means I must have values in life and not the values of the world. So what are my values? And God says, you're noble, you are honest, you have integrity, and he continues, you know, and okay, these are my values. Okay. And then he continues to say to me, because you have these values, remember, you have a flesh which I've put myself in, which is himself in.
Made in his own image.
I'm made in his image, but then there's this flesh. And this flesh at times has got its own pullings. I have thoughts and I have patterns of thoughts that sometimes fight against God. And so I need to develop thoughts that encourage and build this person who is God himself. So Romans 12 says, you know, renew your mind all the time. You know,
because he knows.
yes, renew your mind all the time, so that this flesh cannot take over, but the Spirit of God who lives in me to take over. And then we have what? We have principalities as well, which we fight against all the time. But that God has taken care of, because we've got angels surrounding us. We've got the heavens over us. We've got Jesus Christ praying for us on a daily basis. Now, can you imagine who you are?
And I've left you with the Holy Spirit.
And you have the Holy Spirit. So that
Friend,
is who
your guide.
you are.
Sure.
And then he continues, he says to me, but then I've given you a character and I've given you a personality. Still, that's not who you are. Those are just vehicles of me expressing myself through you. He expresses himself through you differently because you have a different character and you have a different personality. And he expresses himself through you differently because you have a different character and you have a different personality. So what am I? I'm a vessel that carries God. And he oozes through me differently because I'm differently and uniquely made. Which is why we need each other in the world to make. Because God says Christ is the head and we are the body. So I'm the finger, I'm the toe, you are the this, you are the that. So we express God
The body of
differently.
Christ.
Yes. So my identity is God. That's
Hallelujah, Jesus. Amen. Amen. Wow, we thank you, Lord. Wow, what a wonderful session. I'm so touched, and I hope that you have learned something out of this conversation. So please don't forget to share. That is the most important thing. Share please this video so that we can learn from our journey, so that we can learn from our testimonies. I mean, Ushilo now. Umuntu ngabantu. Yes, that's very important. So they are created so many people, but we don't need each other. We need each other because we need to love each other. I think that's the most important commandment. Love one another. Love one another. So with all that, I love you. 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 Thank you so much. Yes, don't forget, there's an email address. Share your story if you want to share your story. Just let me know if you want me to come to you and we can have a conversation like this. See you next time. Thank you so much. Love you. Love you. That's my sister. And this is my other sister.